Hello, North Andover. Thank you for joining us once again for another edition of the North Andover Journal. I'm your host, Gabby Griffiths. Let's jump into our October episode where we will be pumpkin you up. To start off this fall-filled episode, we will be hitting the trails and introducing a new type of segment for the Journal. We met up with the Friends of North Andover Trails and a representative from the Conservation Commission to get the inside scoop on the best trails to hike for the fall season. We also checked out all the incredible restorations that have been done to make exploring a great experience for all. The Friends of North Andover Trails Group and the Conservation Commission have been working hard this year to keep our trails in tip-top shape for the fall season. With foliage at its peak, these two groups have done their best in laying out some of the best trails for fall hikes this season. We caught up with Glenn, a local resident and 10-year member of the group, to hear more about this nonprofit organization and what they do for the North Andover community.
We have members that do all sorts of different activities. A lot of our members just like to hike, report on the trails, let us know the conditions of the trails, and then we have members that like to do the trail maintenance. We maintain the town trails, we build bridges and boardwalks, we do outreach like a table at the sheep shearing or the fall festival. And sort of my project when I joined was, since I'm a computer guy, I got a website spun up with information about all the trails in town. The group had always wanted a trail guide for years and years, and they found me to do this guidebook, which was a great success. I think we've sold probably about 3,000 of these guidebooks over the years, and people really love the trail maps, the photography, the descriptions of the trails. Hiking this fall is going to be amazing. I don't remember a summer where there were so few mosquitoes. And the trails are in great shape. There's not a lot of poison ivy, there's no ticks. It's just gonna be the best summer and fall I can remember for hiking in North Andover. Our trail group has done a lot of clearing work on the trails, and I'm really excited to get out there and check everything out this fall.
One of the common misconceptions is that there aren't many hiking trails in the North Andover area, but there are actually around 18 hikeable trails in and around the town. Glenn gave us some insights on how hard the Friends of North Andover Trails have been working to showcase some of these incredible spots for exploring.
We have, I think, 17 or 18 different hiking destinations that you can head out to. There are just so many other beautiful places to go. And through the trail guide and through our outreach, we try and get hikers to explore more North Andover trails. My favorite trail this time of year are the trails at Mazarenko Farm. That is on the other side of the lake from where we are right now, and the trailhead is over on Bradford Street. That's one of the trails that our group actually spends a lot of time working on in the summer, because it can get a little overgrown. If you were trying to go in June and July, you just hit like a big overgrown trail. But by the fall, we've got it all mowed and cut back, and it's absolutely gorgeous. There are some beautiful farm fields out there that actually look a little similar to Half Mile Hill, but you just got the whole place to yourself. You'd never see another human being when you go out there. It's absolutely gorgeous. Our newest conservation area is called Glenny Woodlot, and if you were driving down Dale Street in the past year, you may have noticed a new parking area and a nice sign that the town put up for Glenny Woodlot. Like just before you get to Smollett Farms as you're heading up Dale Street, you'll see this new parking area on the left. The actual Glenny Woodlot parcel is fairly small. It's only about 9 acres. But what we were actually able to do is add a bridge that lets you connect up to another 100 or so acres of town conservation land that there really was no way to get to before. So now if you start at that Dale Street parking lot, you can go on a nice hour-long hike through beautiful woods. People that go out there tell me, I didn't know where I was anymore. You know, you're like right between Dale Street and Great Pond Road. There's all this beautiful woods. It's actually part of Town Farm Forest, and I recommend checking it out. Another favorite is Boston Hill. This is kind of one of those spots that there really just isn't a lot of popular access to this trail. It's part of Ward Reservation, which most people associate with the main entrance on Prospect Road in Andover. But to get to Boston Hill from there is like a half-day hike. The way that we like to go in is if you go into the Bright View Assisted Living Center, that big building on 114 near Boston Hill Farm, and you go to the end of the parking lot, there is designated trail parking. So it's kind of like a secret entrance to Ward Reservation. You'll see trail parking signs, and you head right up the former ski slope, so it can be a little intimidating. It does start off a little steep, but once you get up there, oh man, Trustees of Reservations has created I think a 70-acre clearing up there, south-facing, and you can see the Boston skyline right from North Andover. A really nice hidden gem in North Andover is Berry Pond in that area of Harold Parker. A lot of people don't realize that half of Harold Parker is actually located in North Andover, and there's some ridiculous amount of trails in Harold Parker, like probably 50 miles total to explore, so it can be a little intimidating. If you drive up to the Berry Pond main entrance on Middleton Road, there is a parking lot that's open year-round on a little further down, but during the Berry Pond hours, probably like Memorial Day to Labor Day, and I think it's still open last time I checked, there's parking for the day use area, where they have a little beach for swimming, charcoal grills, picnic tables, and a paved path that runs about 3/4 of a mile. Such a fun area to explore, and then once you're there, you can kind of go off on the side trails and explore one of the color-coded loops that they have at Harold Parker now.
For all of these trails to be restored to a state of accessibility, members of the Friends and Conservation Commission had to put in a lot of effort in restorations to make sure these trails could be used for hiking and exploring by the public.
One of the important parts about getting hikers out to these lesser-used trails is the maintenance situation. If people are hiking on these trails, we don't have to do as much cutting back and mowing, and people kind of take ownership of the trails and start doing a little clipping here and there, maybe even clearing a tree that's fallen down over the trail.
We caught up with Amy Maxner from the Conservation Commission to hear more about their part in these restorations. She also told us what they have been doing to keep the trails in great shape for the fall and for the North Andover community moving forward.
This commission in North Andover has a wide variety of open space types that they steward. And so, a wooded with trails is, a type. The other component is sometimes towns and cities have what's called an open space committee, which kind of, all that open space stuff and stewardship kind of shifts to them, which is really great. But here we have a really active, dynamic group called the Friends of North Andover Trails. They are critical to how we take care of our open spaces. I mean, they're a really great group of people that mobilize, go ahead with building bridges such as this one to help us make our connections to other trails. I think what's unique about North Andover is that there's open space and trails almost at every corner of North Andover, and even in the center, in the Old Town Center. So, neighborhoods have access wherever they are, and again, FONAT is really critical in helping us keep those trails accessible and open and connected. All of the open spaces that are under the Conservation Commission's stewardship are permanently protected, either by Article 97 of the Massachusetts Constitution or by way of conservation restrictions. And also I failed to mention there's a patchwork of ownership of the open spaces. So we've got Greenbelt and trustees and Audubon that own properties that either abut or connect to trails and properties that we own. as a town. We have partnerships too with these local land trusts that, you know, are critical as well. People can get involved by, you know, through trail stewardship and sort of just watching over open spaces and reporting. I'm, you know, happy to receive any kind of reports from anyone that they say, hey, a tree's down or something's going on. I'm available. And again, I'm going to shout out for Phonat, who is always looking for volunteers and that welcomes people. You can, you know, membership for $25 a year, and you know, they host a series of fall hikes or winter hikes and choose a particular spot to showcase and do, you know, fall cleanups and stuff like that. So that's a really good vehicle for people to.
On October 10th, the North Andover Fire Department held an open house to celebrate Fire Safety and Fire Education Month. Most firehouses are celebrating the month of October across the state with open houses. The goal of the North Andover Fire Department on this day was to give the community an insight on the duties of a firefighter. It was a gesture of gratitude to the town for all of its support.
Today we're here, it's Fire Safety and Fire Education Month, the month of October. Most firehouses do an open house across the state. Today we've invited the Lawrence General Paramedics, we've got AAA here, we've got the Merrimack Valley Substance Abuse Program, as well as the on-duty firefighting crews. It's basically just a thank you to the town. We've got some giveaways, we've got pizzas, donuts. We're selling breast cancer awareness t-shirts that we're all wearing. And we're actually going to do a live demonstration at 11 o'clock. We're going to cut apart a car, show the people and the kids the jaws of life and all the tools that we use. The thing I like to say about this job is it's fluid. You come in and one day you can have one call and you spend the remainder of the day training, doing paperwork. A lot of guys now are going for their degrees, so you're studying, you're writing papers. The amount of paperwork that we have to do nowadays for the job itself, like when an ambulance call, you'll do an hour's worth of paperwork on one call because the billing, the insurance, all that. If you're not on call, you're in the firehouse. During the day, we like to stay busy. We have to keep it clean. We have to check the trucks every day, check all the tools on the trucks, check the trucks themselves, the fluids, the air pressure, and the tires. At night, yeah, there is some downtime, and it's like a family. You're here for a 24-hour shift, so you hope you get a good group of guys and girls that you work with, and it's like a family. You hang out, you cook, you eat dinner.
It's fulfilling, you know. You don't have to worry about if you're not doing enough with yourself or you're not doing enough for the people. You go out there and you make a difference every day, put a smile on somebody's face, on their worst day, and it's very fulfilling. It's a fun job. We do a lot of cool stuff. You get to be very satisfied at the end of the day. The brotherhood between all the guys, but then I'd say every day is different. You do a different call or something every day, which is awesome. It keeps it exciting, keeps it changed up.
I know a lot of people joke, but we do sleep here, but very rarely do you sleep or get a full night's sleep because you're constantly going out, ambulance calls, alarm calls, car accidents. It's not like people think it is. This past September was our busiest month ever in the fire department. Our ambulances, I believe our A1 ambulance did just over 200 calls last month alone. So it's gotten pretty busy. It seems to be, COVID-wise, it seems to be slowing down a bit, but the ambulances are busier than ever.
After a couple of weeks on the road, the North Andover Scarlet Knights varsity football team came home to host the Middies. I'll just do it again from this one, and you don't have to cut. Okay. After a couple weeks on the road, the North Andover Scarlet Knights varsity football team came home to host the Middies of Dracut High School. Coming off of 3 consecutive losses, the Scarlet Knights were in need of a big win, and that's exactly what they got.
No tight end in the formation. He has the height advantage dramatically.
Going to the back of the
Going
end zone.
the other way, it's wide open.
Touchdown.
Is that Partridge?
It is. Not a big wind-up. Zawinski takes it on the run.
Down the sideline.
Made one move. Down to the 10. Maybe even inside the 10.
Could not get away from the leg tackle.
2nd and 1.
Run it right back at them.
Similar play.
Oh yeah, yep.
Touchdown North Andover.
Gets behind the blocker, waits for the block to happen, and then sprints to the left from there.
Sweep. Pat Roy. He has a lane. He has
the corner, but
tackled by Connor McMorrow. 1st and goal.
Here we are.
Sweep. Federico, touchdown.
James Federico is in the end zone for a touchdown.
If you want to drive 6 hours, you can get to Reno.
High kick, short high kick. They let it bounce. Someone needs to get on that.
Yes, that was a mistake.
Looks like North Andover has it.
Claims they have it.
It's Walensky off tackle. Plenty of room.
He's gone. He needed that one block, and he helped the blocker set it up.
So that'll do it for the first half. Big showing from North Andover. North Andover 26, Drake at 0, and the 2 mistakes by North Andover could be worse. Hunter Scott looks like he's trying to block this.
Yes.
Number 6 down the
There
middle.
he comes.
Over his head. Doesn't matter who picks that ball up, it's 4th down.
3 North Andover players in there.
Pat Roy in motion, down the middle to Walensky. That's plays worked before.
Just like before.
Touchdown.
You're exactly right.
Maybe there's running time rules if the game is lopsided.
Whoa, overthrown.
Intercepted.
Up for
Jimmy
grabs.
Quinn, I don't know who, is that Rodriguez who tipped that? Kevin Rodriguez, number 40. 2 receivers out there.
North Andover, Nguyen celebrating again. But all of that was a ruse, because there goes the runner.
Not sure who that was. It's a number in the 20s. Throwing this the other way.
Pass, wide open.
Oh, the safety missed on that ball. Touchdown North Andover.
North Andover, the Scarlet Knights rip off 46 points and hold Draken scoreless.
Unfortunately, the Knights went back to the L column in the next game. They led for most of the night, but just missed out on the big upset of undefeated Billerica, who scored in the final minutes to take the 35-34 win. To close out this episode, we will be heading over to the Historical Society for a lecture on ghost hunting and spiritualism. Steve Parsons of the UK has been ghost hunting for most of his life, and he shared how he got into the craft and how he's now sharing his knowledge across the world.
Tonight I'm giving a talk to the North Andover Historical Society on the subject of the history of ghost hunting and spiritualism, because it's an apt time of the year to be talking about these subjects. We're getting close to Halloween, the veil is thinning, the ghosties and the ghoulies are, well, they're out on all of the front porches. I've been interested in ghosts since I was a small boy. Ghosts and aeroplanes are my thing. But I just wanted to see a ghost because I'd read about them and I'd read about the Victorian ghost hunters, and I thought, well, I want to see what a ghost is. And then I discovered it's much harder they're not as easy to catch, they're more elusive, and so I turned to science to try and get a better understanding of what people's experience of ghosts are. So I don't actually hunt ghosts, although that's my title. I study people's experiences of ghosts and hauntings. The most fascinating is the way that the environment interacts with people in order to create paranormal-like experiences. Now these are obviously different than real paranormal experiences, but The environment can play tricks on us. There are things within the environment, sounds that we can't necessarily hear, and other things like electromagnetism. And that can cause us as humans to have some really strange sensations, and we might interpret them as being paranormal. I have visited a Victorian property in the area on a previous visit, but sadly that night nothing happened. And I must admit, a friend of mine is an avid reader of ghost gazetteers and stories of ghosts. I'm never really one for fiction, I was much more one for fact. And so I really only start to delve into a location or a site when I'm called in to examine it in more detail. So ghost tourism doesn't really hold that much interest. What I'm doing in the future, looking forward to going back home and seeing my wife and family, and then I'm off to Ireland after Christmas to spread the word.
Interested in getting more involved with North Andover news? Do you know any local organizations, businesses, or people who would love to have their stories heard? Send them our way. Here at the Journal, we are always on the lookout for opportunities to showcase everyone who helps make North Andover the great town that we are. So if you have any exciting ideas or news, please let us know by emailing me at the link below. And now let's take a moment to shout out our sponsors that air the Journal every day. We love partnering with local restaurants, so support them and the Journal by stopping by for some great North Andover food. Thanks again for joining us, and from all of us here at the Journal, I'm your host, Gabby Griffiths, and thanks for watching.